Check, 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 check. See if we have audio still. Do we still have audio? Check, 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 check. Yes, we do. Okay, Greeks and barbarians, welcome to the final week of Byzantine Music 0, where we're going to get into the very basics of ornamentation. Thank you for sticking around for all this time. We started back in May. Here we are in July. And we went all the way from the very beginning of what is Byzantine music, how is it notated, what's the scales look like, what do they sound like, what are the components of it, and now we're all the way at something that I actually think is kind of a little bit advanced for this course, but you know what, you might outgrow the other parts of the course and you might want to learn some more. One of the best things that you can possibly do after learning all this is ask your priest, ask somebody, go online, join a Facebook group. There's a group called Biz Chant Peeps. I'll have a link to it on the ampnola.org website. You can join that. Ask people for scores of music and just practice reading them. When I was 14, I read through the entire ORNAMENTATION, which is basically all the music for Resurrectional for Sundays. And I don't know, it's like 400 pages long. I don't remember how long it is. But you cite through that whole thing and you'll be able to really start nailing this stuff. So that's what I can recommend, is just start picking up a book or picking up a score and reading it, or go online. We'll get into that a little bit later in this course. And yeah, just kind of follow along on a recording with the score. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube that has the score in tandem with the recording. It doesn't do a little bouncing karaoke ball for you, but you should be able to figure it out. Anyway, we'll get into that later. For right now, we're just going to get into the beginnings of ornamentation. Sorry. So, what is ornamentation? Well, it's when you put nice things on your notes. They're optional notes. You don't have to do them. They have a lot of variations. We're not going to get into all of them today. And they're connected to what your so-called dry note is, which is when you sing with no ornamentation. A lot of us in the business, we tend to call it dry. So, here's some simple ornaments. You've seen this symbol. We haven't talked about it yet. It's called the VAREION. The VAREION has only a few kind of standard ornamental resolutions. This is one of them. We'll get into it later. The anagrama also only has a few kind of standard realizations in most cases. So these are the two what I would call simple ornament neumes. Remember, these do not actually have any musical quality. They don't change whether you're on Nipa Fugadi Hirzoni. They don't change what notes you're on or anything. They actually just put an ornamental quality on the notes. So you'll notice I have it highlighted in blue here, and then here is the resulting ornament in Western notation, and here as well. So let's look at the VAREION. The VAREION has a few more variations than this, but these are the ones you really need to know. When you see a phrase that's broken up like this with a VAREION, you'll put a little grace note in between the last note of this grouping and the first note of this grouping. If you have a descending phrase will always follow a VAREION. If you have something like this, you will actually do what's called an escape tone. So whereas this would be vu, pa, you go vu. So instead of doing a quarter note here, vu, pa, you go up a diatonic step from whatever note you're on. vu, ba. So when you're practicing solfege, paralahi, you don't want to go vu, ga, ba, vu, ga, ba. You want to go vu, so that you're still aware of what note you're actually on, even though the ornament goes away from that note. Same with here. So this is ke zo zo ke, right? Ke zo zo ke da da ya na. So in tempo for this one, da da da, right? And this one would be da da ya na. Ke zo zo ke. So vu ba ke zo zo ke. Pretty basic. Then you have the Andikenoma. You really only see it most of the time in these two configurations. It does appear every now and then in other places, and there are resolutions for them, but don't worry about those for now. So this phrase, almost everybody has their own way that they like to do it, but a lot of the time you'll hear this. The ga vu ga na 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 na. But notice how this would really be the ga vu, right? The down two, up one, down one, stay the same. The ga vu. But we have this andikenoma here, and it kind of has you do kind of like a little bit of an arc in the melody. The ga vu ga vu, the ga vu na, na, na. And then over here, every time you see it with an appli, which does what? Adds a beat, and the go, which takes the note and the one before it and combines them into a single beat. This is, of course, Kali, dotted quarter, da da da. In other words, 3/8 notes. But what the Andikenoma does is it also creates another little arc. Kali, right? So now let's get into some complex ornaments. I only call them complex just because there's a ton of ways that you can do these. And there's a ton of names for each way you can do them. And honestly, I don't care if you know what the names are. I'd rather you just see it and know that you have some musical options. So, you have the psifiston, which is, you've seen this symbol over and over. And like I said, again, these notes do not change the pitch. The petasti, however, also serves as a pitch-changing note. So that's the only thing that makes this one more complicated than the rest. Remember how the petasti can either by itself mean go up one, or if it has an oligon on top of it, means go up two. But if it has anything else, it actually just serves as a platform and retains the quality of a petasti. Right? So here's just one example. Zoni, right? And then those are the two that we've got here, but I'll kind of show you how this all works. So here's the psifiston. These are the two that you'll most likely see when you are on an ascending note, like an oligon with a klasma and the psifiston. So instead of going vulgo, here we go vulgo, right? Da-na. So what it does is it actually puts a note above whatever the note is that you're on. Da-na. Right? And same thing here. Da-na. You could also go but this is and then this is not Vu ga. You want to think of it as ga, but sing above ga. Vu ga. So you'll see these pretty often. When it is combined with this little, the kendimatan oligo thing, there's a lot of ways that you can do this. There's no. So instead of going zonim, you can go zonim. But you can also go, you can kind of fill it around. So this could also go zoni, da 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 da, even though this is in a different part of the scale. Da 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 da. So, and you can go na na na. So in this first case, these are the two dry notes, na na na, zoni, and you put one note higher than the second note. Zoni. In this case, these are your dry notes. This is just kind of something that I put in because it's the kendimata. It's a different. It's an ornament that I don't really like to bring up to beginner students because it's not something that you need to worry about for a while until you have enough vocal technique to actually execute in the first place. So the right. So this is the. I think this was a soft chromatic thing. The. Now here you see a zo here, B natural or B whatever. The. So in this case, the psifison is here being realized, I believe. My teacher might be writing some nasty comments if this is wrong. In any case, when you see this, this is what you can sing a lot of the time as well. So you can go zoni da 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 da, and then you can go da da da. So this is ga zo flat. So I'm thinking this is probably in play go first, which is ba minor, D minor. Ga zo, and what you do here is you go ga, and then so you go up one. You can think of it as like this, ga zo, and then you're filling it in between. Ga zo, da 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 da, ga zo. So that's the psifiston in that case. Now we have a couple of cases here where this is kind of like a more of a melismatic phrase where this would all this right here would be on one syllable, and then this right here would also be on one syllable. So what happens in this case is the psifiston actually steals from the previous note and puts the higher note before the beat. So this would be like this is probably soft chromatic. But we're instead of going zoni, we go zoni. So it's the same pitch, but the rhythm is pulled back before the beat. I'm tired. So and then we have here, which I think this is a third mode phrase. So right, something like that. Right. So here you have a petasti ornament, which we'll get into in a second. So it's another time where that higher note is taken from the beat before and is turned into a pickup note. Petasi. So petasi is the other complex ornament because there's a ton of ways that you can do it. Again, I'm only going to show you a couple of them. Here's the basic one. You just go up, you come down. If it's on a 2-beat note, like something with a klezmer. If it's one beat, then you just go up one as kind of an escape tone, and then you just keep singing like what you were doing before. So this would be ba-ga, ba-ga, right? And then this is vu-ba, vu-ba. But if you want to do this note here, vu-ba, da-da-da. Now we have these two versions of the pedassi with the klezmer that are a little bit more complicated. There's tons of ways you can do this, but we're just going to show you these two. They're almost the same, just the rhythm is a little bit different. You go up two, and you step your scale back down. So this is ga, 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 da, 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 ga. And this is a dotted eighth and a 16th. So instead of going ga, da, 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 this is ga, ga, ga. You've heard that probably a ton of times. Ga, gra, sa, pro, sa, right? Ga, gra, sa. And then there's these, which are kind of like just examples of just how crazy it can get. So this typically will be the same sort of realization as a antigenoma. However, you could also put this here. So let's talk about this one first. So this is ra, ra, vu, ba, right? Because this is down two, but with a filled note. Ra, vu, ba. So you could go ra, vu, ba, like here. Da, 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 ra, vu, ba. And like I said, I'm not singing the notes as they are. I'm actually looking at it as the intervals. Ra, vu, ba, right? But in this case, this is written as ra, vu, ba, da, 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 ra, vu, ba, right? So you could go ra, vu, ba, or you could go ra, vu, ba. In the same way, you could go the, ra, right? This is the, ra. You could go the, ra. See that? Da, 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 da. So that's kind of the basics of all of the standard class ornaments. There's more. There's a ligisma. There's extra ornaments that aren't even in standard notation these days, but they do appear in some scores. But this is basically a good starting kit of ornaments for you to have fun with. But if you want to learn more, this is how. Listen to recordings. Follow along, but sing it dry. And when your dry doesn't match, then either the singer made a mistake, which almost is never the case if it's a recording, or it's an ornament. So, what I've done here is I've pulled up Di Permaco. All I looked for, you see up here, all I did is I searched for a Greek Byzantine choir. And I just scrolled around until I found something that has a score on it. So let's have a listen, shall we? Yes, that's ni. So di perma. So how is this going to sound if we sing it dry? Di perma, right? Now you hear what they did here. So we've already picked up an ornament. So they're going, instead of going ma-ho, they're going ma-ho. So this is, instead of going di-per-ma-ho, they're going di-per-ma-ho, right? Listen to it again. Now, what we've got here, we've got Srati Gota Nikitirio. Now, most of you, and especially if some of you choir people, you already don't even sing like that. You already sing some of the ornaments and you don't even know it. Because I'm sure a lot of you wanted to go, right? So some of these ornaments have become so standard that they're not even ornaments anymore. They're like expected that you'll sing it. So let's see how they do it. Okay, so that's a lot there. Srati, psifiston, srati. You go up one, da da da, da da da. So this is vuga, sorry, ba vuga, but they're going ba vuga, right? And then vu pa ni, ba vu. I think they're singing it pretty much dry there. Let's hear it again. Okay, here's one of the alternate renderings of a psifiston. So we've done a few in the lesson, but this is a new one that we haven't done yet. And hear that? So this would be, I don't know what my teacher would actually call it, but this is something that you just expect to hear, an escape tone. Da 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 da. It's just, I don't know which one of these would be considered the ornament. It's probably the VAREION. So moving on. They did it again. This, all right. See if it's on again. And when you conduct, you can actually kind of make it clear that's what you want. You can kind of draw them out. I did it again. Now watch this. I've already cheated and I've looked at this a little bit. What? Is that a mistake? No, it's not. So, in some circles, people believe there's two types of oligon. There's the oligon that's just ascend a note. But then there's the oligon that is over a stressed syllable. And it's called the oxia. And the oxia, in this particular score, is very subtly different. But you'll notice, go look up here. These are all flat, flat, flat. Right? And then look, this one's up a little bit. So when it's up a little bit like that, usually it's a little more dramatic in scores that have the oxia. It means that it's an accented note. And one way that you can accent it is actually sing a note higher than what it says to do. So you go, vuga, the. Makes sense? Probably not. But you're vuga, the, but instead of saying the, you sing one above the. The, but you say the. Vuga, the. So let's listen to that again. Now, this is, I'm looking at it now, this is obviously not the score because they wrote which, so this would have been a apostrophos and then an oligo here, but whatever. Same thing. Da 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 da. See if it's on. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. You heard it again? Da 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 da. That's how I would conduct it. If you follow this cursor, I would go da 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 da. And this, I would go cool. So all that was the same. This is the same phrase as anagraphos y polis. So let's see if they do it again. If they do the soxia here. Ek pandion. What do you think? I'm betting $5. Ekbandio. Yep. So, they basically just imagine that this is actually just a new song. And what they have here is this would probably wind up being a oxia with the psifiso, so like this. And so that's why they're going then on. See how that went? See how they went? Let's hear it again. Now let's see what they do here. So, what did you just hear here? In the That's funny. This is a mistake. This should actually be a Gendima on this score. So this score actually has a mistake on it. But all that matters is just listen to this, because this is the petasi. What did you hear? In the if you sing it just dry. So we go back to our class here. In right? They might have gone nah. I don't know. Oh, it's just this little symbol here, this little double line here, the red thing. This is one of those extra symbols that's not often seen, just like the oxia in most modern scores. It's called a piesma, and also known as the double VAREION. And what you would do here is the same thing. It's actually the same thing as where are you? It's the same thing as this petasti, and then two klasmata with a gorgo on top. So listen how they sing that. It's just another way of being a little bit more subtle of doing that same ornament over 3 descending notes. And then what do we have here? So this is a little different. So this might be a different score, but this would be, you could actually sing this as that's how I would do it, with the 1 escape note. Again, this is an oxia thing. And that's it. So that's a way that you can just go through a score. And like I said, you just search for anything. I just look for Greek Byzantine choir. Let's see if we can find another score here. Let's see here. Sure. So, what do you hear him just do right here? Let's follow back. So what's that? Da 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 da, right? Da na do na panon
και άγγελος φωτός τες γυναίξης
totally dry.
Εβόα παύσαστε τον δάκρυ.
So he goes kri, which is what? That's just the basic da da da, right? That one right here.
Της Αποστολής Ευαγγελίσαστε κράξατε
He just sings it dry there. He just goes κράξατε
ανυμνούσε ότι ανέστη Χριστός.
Again, the same thing. Da 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 da.
Ο Κύριος, ο ευδοκίσας ως Θεός Θεός.
So you might have seen what he did there. He did a very subtle ornament there.
Ευδοκίσας ως
So da 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 da. Just a little flip there. So
Θεός Θεός, το γένος των ανθρώπων.
see that? Okay, now let's look at Kyriakakroksai. Plagal second. So you can see a lot of it in the related stuff up here. So you hear what he did there. Da da sa. And then in this case, he went bros gadi gadi da 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 na. This one sa. What's that? That's another psifiston, but it's this one. So right. Hear it again. So he did a different version of the Antikenoma with the Apli and the Gorgon. He went son mu. Might have been a different score where it's actually written in as son mu. Might be. Totally dry. Right? So here, this is just something that kind of gets, kind of slides into our traditions. Some of these ornaments on these classic phrases. That's pretty close. Sonmu. Just a more subtle version of sonmu. I've also heard guys go sonmu. So when you see this phrase, sometimes they'll do that. So that's how you kind of would want to go through and learn some new ornaments, learn some new melodic phrases, learn some new things that people do. Uh, as you have probably gathered, this notation is pretty fluid when it comes to like um, interpretation and all that. That's why there's a lot of people that they go, well, the right way is the way that my teacher did it, and it's like, okay, well, I don't really like that sort of culture of it. So I like to just say, look, these are ways that you can do it, and it's a buffet. Take what you like. If you don't like it, don't do it. I tend to err on the more ornamented side just because I think it's fun. That's why I like to do it. I don't think it's more correct than anybody else, but there are just different ways for you to kind of like express yourself a little bit as a singer over these scores. So figure out what your voice is. Find your ethos, your the mystique, your vibe. I like translating ethos as vibe. Find your vibe as a singer, and good luck, because next week there's nothing. You're on your own. All right, thanks everybody. Leave some comments about this series. You made it through it. Congratulations. If you have any suggestions on how this should be done in the future, we're going to do this series again in about a year. And so we will take note of that. If there's anything you think that we should look at before, or like the order of how I taught this course, leave it in the comments. And happy chanting. Go up and help out your chanters, because we got to take the baton. All right. Have a good 2022. Have a good summer. Have a good Banagia. Have a good new ecclesiastical year. And if you have any suggestions on other things that I could do as small classes, drop them in the comments as well. Like I said, in the Western music course, I think I'm going to do a couple of things, like a crash course on weddings and baptisms and funerals, the different sacraments and stuff, and some other like extra things that you should know. And yeah, just have fun. And hopefully you guys learned plenty of stuff so that you're armed to be dangerous at the Analogio. Okay, thanks.